What's up, mortgage coach community? Dave Savage coming live. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona today, and I have three amazing leaders in the mortgage industry. We have one red belt grandmaster mortgage coach who is every day out there helping families make better decisions. You know, his competitive advantage in the marketplace, his unique value prop is education and advice. One of the things I love about Mike is not only is he a big producer, but he is giving back. He is going to high schools, partnering with CPAs and financial planners to educate the next generation. You know, he believes what I believe, and there is a financial crisis or financial literacy crisis in America. And Mike is doing his part to do that. So before I bring on the other guests on, what's up, Mike?
Dave, how are you, bud? Appreciate you having me. Always a pleasure to be on the show. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you, and you're doing quite a bit of loan volume as well. What kind of production did you close out last year at?
We finished out last year right at 350 units for my personal production with right at 95 million. And then I manage a branch, and we did a little over 200 million with the branch.
So this is a very financially successful mortgage professional, branch manager, who's also figured out how, you know what, I can do a lot and give great advice to folks. And how often are you going to high schools and actually doing financial literacy training?
So over the next couple of months, this is kind of when we really hit them hard with we kind of are, we hit, kind of 2 a month over the next couple of months. So we'll kind of do 8 to 10 between now and the time school gets out in the end of May or so. And it's, we try to get them at right during their senior year before they graduate, but after Christmas, after the holidays, so that they are, kind of thinking more about what they're going to do once they get out and giving them that education and information.
Cool. Well, I can't wait to hear more about that. Also joining us on this mastermind call, we have Deborah Byrd, the CEO and founder of plugandplaysm.com, the mortgage industry's leading social media agency that specializes in helping loan officers that are advisors build brands on social media around advice. Deborah, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. I wish I had the voice memo for Coach Garrett in the house of Dave having a mad crush after y'all's last interview. He is a super fan, Mike. So I'm excited to be on this call. And I think what you said is so valuable. And I don't know if people know this about you, but Mike used to be a football coach. And this just came to me when you were talking about how you're trying to get in with the seniors, and just thinking of even the athletic departments and some of the head coaches of here, you have some athletes that they may go straight to college and play college ball. Some of them may get drafted early. And there's plenty of stories out there of these athletes who start making some big checks and then fall into bankruptcy or don't know how to manage money. So I love what you're doing. And I can't wait to hear from Todd, who's also on this call. What's up, Todd?
Howdy. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
So guys, Todd is an actual professor at the University of North Carolina. He's also a 2-decade leader in the mortgage space. I've known Todd since the early days of founding Mortgage Coach. I always have felt that Todd is one of the pioneers of using advice as a competitive advantage. He's also the founder of a really cool educational platform called Certified Liability Advisor. And Todd and I deeply believe the same thing, that the mortgage is the single most important financial planning decision people ever make, and how they manage their liabilities, all their liabilities, their auto loan, their credit cards, their student loans, is the single most important financial planning decision that any high school student can learn, that any college student can learn. And he believes that just too many people are getting out there in the real world without the foundational education, so that they just have a high money IQ. And so Todd, welcome to the call. And I'm really looking forward to this mastermind with all 4 of us.
Hey, me too, man. Always a pleasure. Thanks for
right
having
on. So let's do it this way. So first of all, you guys can all interrupt each other, talk over me. From this point on, hopefully I am not the one that talks the most. We're kind of bringing the genius out of you guys. I do want to center it around Mike, because he's the guy in the trenches doing this. But Deborah, you raised your hand. Why don't you go
Yeah,
first? You have a
I was
question or
curious.
suggestion?
I was curious, Todd, how do the college students sign up for your class? Like, is it a prerequisite for like a business degree, or is it something that they can take electively? How and what age group typically enrolls in your class?
Yeah, so at the class I'm teaching now, it's an elective that they
Okay.
can sign up for through, we do campus billboards, we do online platform, there are places where you can post this. There's something called Handshake that over 800 universities use now, where you can post internships and opportunities and things as well. I have quite a few people in our group that are teaching this at different levels, not just colleges, but businesses and things. I'm sure Mike will talk a lot about that. But community colleges love this sort of a thing because they'll charge for it and charge for your time and even pay you to teach. But we can talk a lot about the different verticals in which you can teach this material or teach any material.
Right.
So Mike, are you certified in the limited liability program?
No, I just learned about Todd and his platform and everything over the last couple of weeks, and have been really kind of digging into it and looking forward to kind of learning more about it and going through that process. I think it'll be a huge benefit to what we're trying to do, down at the high school level. And we've got a lot of community colleges in our area, and it's kind of a big goal of ours that with our team and then with our company at Movement is to really kind of reach out and educate people well before that time is needed, because if you wait until you're ready to buy a house, it may delay the process of buying a house depending on what you've gone through. So it's really a tugs at my heart because of kids that I've been around through coaching through the years, and I've had many kids that I've coached that play in the NFL and have gone to college and played, and you're right. I mean, it's, some of them get some big checks, and fortunately the ones that I've had that have done that have all done very well, but that's not always the norm.
Yeah, I had read a statistic that the average time that people rent before they buy their first home is 11 years. And the single biggest factor is they just don't think that they can buy. And so that's the type of education that I am encouraging just our clients to get out there, is teaching people how you can buy and why they should buy early on. I think NARD just also posted that the average first-time home buyer was, I think it was either 34 or 35. Can you believe that? Like, think about the opportunity cost of waiting until you're 34, 35 years old to buy. And that money is just going.
I've seen a lot of that stat, because that's kind of the number that they use when they, kind of explain why the housing market's going to continue to do well, is they look at birth rates, and they kind of use that 33 to 34 years ago birth rates as the number to look at of people that are going to come into the market. And so it's a big, driving force of waiting that long. I saw an interesting post that somebody made. I don't even remember where I saw it, but it had to do with rising interest rates that we're seeing right now a little bit. And it said, before you start to complain about 4 or 5% interest rate, the interest rate on a rental is 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, it drives it home when you think about that, when you're paying rent, it's all interest basically, none of it's going to you.
So what's your process? I mean, obviously you're going into these high schools and teaching the seniors, and it's not going to be a direct ROI, so to speak, for those who are, whose motive could be, I'm trying to get leads. What is your one? How did you get your foot in the door? Is this done during the school day? Is it done after the school day? Is it on the weekend? What's kind of your follow-up process from here? And you may not have all the answers to this, so it's okay. Yeah. But just how would you teach someone that's listening right now, if they want to do something similar? What would be their playbook?
So we started at individual high schools, and I was fortunate enough to have some connections at some different high schools in our area, and reached out to administration at those high schools. I had some connections at the county level, but the county wasn't really going to back something like that, just out of worry about how it would come across. And so, but they weren't going to stop it either. They were just going to leave it up to each individual administrator. And so we go in, they provide us the auditorium, and it's kind of like a 6 to 8 p.m. type deal at night. And it's voluntary for the seniors. But if they come and they're there for 2 hours, at each school, we do 2 $1,000 scholarship drawings.
Oh, wow.
So we give away scholarships to the students that come and participate. And that can be to, doesn't necessarily have to be to a 4-year university. It can be to a community college, to a vocational technical school. There's obviously a big shortage of those. So it can be to anything that they're looking to do to further their education that they can use that money for. So we partner with an insurance agent, a CPA, and a financial advisor, and we just kind of break it up into 30 minutes each, and we talk about different things. I go through from credit scores, how to build credit, why it's important, what all it can impact, the benefits of homeownership over renting, how it can build wealth. So we go through all those different things, and we use a kind of a rent versus own analysis that we use through Mortgage Coach that we prepare, and put that together for them so that they can really see it in numbers, in black and white of what it means for them.
So real quick, one thing that I want to push everyone to do is, clearly just do the work, get out there and deliver education. But if you can put a rent versus own TCA on a high school or a college student's mobile device so that they can self-educate, you're getting the word out, because I can tell you right now, those high school and college students, one, they're going to use it, they're going to reference it, they're going to create value. You know what else they're going to do? They're going to show it with their parents, and you're going to be a hero, and they're going to see firsthand in a multi-sensory way, how it all works. So I would, and even push the students to share it with their parents. Like, hey, make sure that, everyone in your family gets this. Mike, I'm curious, are you getting many referrals? Like, let's say you do that, rent versus own conversation, and then are you finding that you're getting referrals from teachers, students, or not maybe students, but parents and teachers?
Yeah, it's and that's kind of one of the things, our goal is to follow up with the students, long term, to kind of keep them, and answer questions for them and be available for them. But we've had some that have taken stuff home to their parents. Their parents have reached out. Some were buying, some were refinancing. And obviously the teachers at the schools really appreciate it. We've always been very active with the schools. We go before the school year starts at a lot of different schools around here, from elementary and middle and high school, and kind of prepare lunch or do a breakfast for them during teacher work days before the students come in, just as a way to give back to the teachers in the community and to help out. We kind of joke with the students when we're talking to them is, and they always pick up on the joke, but I tell them, I said, what you hope that you take out of this is that 2 out of the 3 of you don't listen, and that you're one of the 3 that do, and you go buy a house and you get 2 of your friends that didn't listen to come rent from you, and they pay your mortgage for you.
Love that. Now I want to make sure we bring Todd into the conversation here. One, Todd, we're going to ask you questions about, what you teach and train and how you advocate. But before we kind of start asking you details around that, any questions you have for Mike? Anything you want to pull out of what he said, or anything you want to emphasize around what he said?
Great question. I think, again, I applaud you for just getting out. There's old saying, opportunity dances with those who are on the dance floor. And the second you get out there dancing, you meet people, you meet teachers, you meet what I like to say, needs, because we're always trying to meet the needs of someone. But when you're out dancing, you're out meeting people, you're getting an opportunity to meet needs, and you have so much you can do to help people, but they don't know how to find you, and they don't have the time. And we found that when we started teaching financial literacy, we moved from one-to-one interactions to one-to-many interactions, and one-to-many interactions compound really, really in a cool way over time, both from a standpoint of how you're perceived in the community, and again, just the overall, the impact you have and what you're doing. Because a lot of people perceive loan officers as someone that sell money. They sell money for a living, right? And you know, I have to come to you because I don't have the money, so I got to go buy it from you, right? And so I like that the whole, any kind of financial literacy starts to soften that edge a bit, and they realize, wait a minute, you know, I mean, most people don't realize this if they haven't spent a lot of time with it, but the average American spends 38% of their adjusted gross income on housing, whether it's renting or owning, and they save about 2 to 3% a year. So the financial advisors, we always used to say, is working with the 2 to 3%. And as a loan officer, if you can help someone from a financial literacy standpoint, you're focusing on the 30 to 40%, you know, which is a much bigger expense. And if you can save them a little bit of that 30 to 40%, you can double the 2 to 3 at the end that's left over that they can have to build wealth over time, right? An advisor can't do that. They can't help the client make more money. They can help them invest 2% or 3%, but you save somebody a couple $100 a month and they're saving $300 a month. Now they're saving $600 a month. You just doubled their savings, which then doubles their, you know, earning potential. So there's just so much impact you can have as a loan officer.
I agree. Absolutely.
You know, Todd, I get asked a lot from my clients. In fact, I just posted a link of where they could get more educational training on Mortgage Coach. I think specifically on Wednesdays are the days that Mortgage Coach does the strategy lessons. But where could you drop like your website of those loan officers who may be new to the industry, or they're just they don't even know how to give the financial advice or what to look for to best maximize showing a certain TCA? Like some of that's a learned, you know, not only behavior, but also just knowledge base. Can you share where they can go to?
Sure. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do one thing now. I told Dave I was going to give away 100 copies of my book today, so I'll throw that out, Dave, if you want to post that up. I mean, I wrote a book called Borrow Smart, Repay Smart, and it was just really about how to apply what you call financial planning concepts to what we do as loan officers. Because I started out as a financial advisor. So I started out on what I call the right side, the asset side of the balance sheet. And then I crossed over the liability side of the balance sheet when I became a lender. That's when I started to realize I could have a much bigger impact if my objective was helping people to create awareness and build wealth as a liability advisor. But the book that we have on our website, there's a lot of stuff there on our program, but you can get a free copy of the book and read it, because it'll just get you thinking a little bit about what you do and how you can do it a little bit differently. The other thing that we have is a nonprofit that we created for financial literacy, and we have a bunch of financial education there. There's a class called CALM, which stands for Cash and Liability Mastery. And I'll put that in there. That's niofe.org is the website. And we have a thing called the PenFin Challenge. It's a spreadsheet that I recommend loan officers do it, because it's just like anything. It's harder to teach it if you don't have your own house in order. You don't have the confidence, when you're out doing it. So we've spent a lot of time recently just talking and challenging branches and loan officers to encourage financial education and literacy within the branch, talk about it, even with the employees, which has a really whole other type of, magnitude of impact when you start helping your processors and your underwriters or things like that embrace these concepts. And because people work for money, but they don't want money, they want something else. Money is just sort of a tool, right? So, and the PenFin Challenge is kind of cool. And it's on our knife.org website under the CALM class. You can take the class and download the spreadsheet. And Mike, you're welcome to use it. It's something you can use as a challenge, because it forces people to go through and take sort of a measurement of how much money have I made in my lifetime? What am I actually making right now? And what does my future look like based on the money I'm saving and how things are looking from a housing and other stuff? And it's just a great way to get people thinking. It's a great way to connect them with your community, because the biggest thing about financial literacy is it connects you with a community of financial advisors, insurance agents, accountants, and all kinds of other people that control their own networks of consumers, and they need help too, right, with housing and everything else.
So guys, I want to do this because I want to make sure I get something out of both of you here. So I'm going to ask each of you the same question, and then Deborah, I'm going to come to you and make sure you talk about, hey, how to take what they're doing and take it one to many use social media. I love something Mike said where, well, I don't know who said it. One of you guys said it where like, hey, if you are doing this training to high schools, not only are you giving back and helping people, which is a beautiful thing to do, you're getting leads and you're getting business, but it's also building your brand as to how you show up in the marketplace. People are going to look at you as a real amenity to the community. You're going to look like more than a loan officer. So Deborah, get ready to, once you hear from both of these guys, the playbook. So Mike, let's do your playbook on what you're doing. And if there was just like 8 steps, and I'm not saying there needs to be 8, there might be 6, there might be 12, but like what, if there's a loan officer listening to this and they're like, you know what, I want to do what Mike's doing. I want to go out and take some lessons, whether they do it personally or they partner with CPA or financial planner. Just give us kind of steps to your playbook. And then remember, Mortgage Coach community, if you're watching this live, we'll bring in your question live. And if you're watching this in our YouTube channel, this is something that Deborah and I are very passionate about. And we're going to be doing more interviews about this. She's going to be interviewing Todd more about it. We're going to be interviewing Mike more. And we're also looking for more Mikes, who are more loan officers that are doing this. So Mike, give us your playbook.
So when we were putting everything together, the first thing that, we wanted to do was to make sure that, to have all the information to be able to explain the credit. So we put all that data together, loan officers understand how the credit scores are comprised and what makes it up and how to build a good credit report and a good credit score. So we put all that together. Then we put together the rent versus own based on the area of the school that we were going to be in. So we did a TCA for that so that we could prepare that. And then from there, we partnered with our insurance agent that we do a lot of business with my financial advisor that I use, and then with my accountant that I use, and sat down with them and told them what I wanted to do and what I was hoping to accomplish out of it, and giving back to the community and helping build that financial literacy and prepare kids for their future. And they were all 100% on board. There was no reservations about it. And from there, then we started reaching out to the administration at the county, at different high schools to put that together. And they all wanted to see an outline. So we put that together and to make sure that they were good. And, they didn't want us discussing political things or, things that could be controversial. So we assured them that we were not, and went through everything, answered the questions that they have. And from there, it's just a matter of getting in front of the people and talking to them. It's and being available to be a resource and spend that time with them after the fact to answer questions.
So I want to make sure everyone heard, part of preparing for this is, when it makes sense that you need to be using and creating a TCA, a total cost analysis, as a teaching tool. And then there is a time, depending on what the lesson is, that you are making sure you distribute the link to that total cost analysis. Before we go to Todd, Deborah, anything you want to ask or anything you want to pull out of what you just shared with us?
Yeah, I've emailed your assistant, Mike, to see if we could get the dates on in the schools of when your next classes will be, because I'm curious, how are you currently getting people to RSVP, and are you open to us creating, like a Facebook event and a graphic where we could encourage people to RSVP and get the message out there? Or are you trying to keep this more, just your relationships and letting them drive the traffic?
So the school is the one, because they make the announcements to all the seniors, and then they distribute all the information to the kids. So that's kind of made it nice, because we're focusing on one school at a time. So, we'll be at one school and do it. And then, a week or two later, we go to the next school and we do it. And so it's just kids from that school that are there when we're doing it. And so the administration kind of runs that and handles all the RSVPs and getting the kids signed up for it.
Now, are you making sure when you're in the class that they are following you on social and subscribing to your YouTube channel, where you're committed to providing videos consistently to continue their education?
So since we talked today the first time, and then you reached out, like I have it down. So our next one that we're doing is on February 17th, and I have it down to ensure that like we make sure that we get all those things done when we do that class on the
I'm putting the
17th.
squeeze on Coach Garrett right now.
Yes, I feel it.
Well, because
And
it's
then,
always important. And this is for anyone listening. Anytime you host a class, a mastermind, a webinar, you could either remind people, hey, make sure you check in, so that when if they're liking your page and they're checking in, and maybe they encourage them to make a post. If there's something that they learned here today, make a post and let other people know, because there could be someone else in your sphere who may have the same question and they just don't know who to go to get the advice. Or for those who are consistently committed to building their video vault on YouTube, it's making sure that they've subscribed to your YouTube channel, so that's because you gotta remember, the kids in high school and college today, the new TV is YouTube. I mean, that's they binge and they want to be informed. They're not super trusting. They're not just going to go as soon as someone gives a word of mouth referral of saying, hey, you've got to use Mike for your financial, advisor or your mortgage banker. They're not just going to say, oh, okay, and call. They're going to do a little bit of research, and they want to get to know you and feel that they can trust you. So it's really important to have that call to action anytime you're doing these webinars or masterminds, that you remind them, and you have to tell people what to do and they'll do it. But a lot of times we forget to tell people, hey, make sure you follow us, because that's social media, and YouTube is just an extension of your CRM. If you use it correctly and you're consistently putting out content that is shareable, relatable, and educational.
So before we go to Todd, Deborah, I know Mike is one of your clients, right? You're his social media agency. Mm-hmm. And then I know Denise Donahue, the mortgage nerd, is one of your clients. I know Shayla Gifford is one of your clients. Who are some other folks that, if they want to see at least how you're doing it, that they should follow? Who are some other top producers?
Jacqueline is another good one that we just had on. Giuseppe. In fact, I would really encourage people to follow Giuseppe, because he's a great example of a client who is, mid-aged male, who originally had a discovery call and said, I don't ever want to be on social media. I just want you to take care of it all. You're not going to see me probably do videos. It's just not, it's just not me. And he's really overcome that and is killing it. And he actually enjoys it now, because he had to have a mindset shift that you're not self-promoting on social. You're just educating and showing the problems that you solve to make a bigger impact. It's not, when your motive is right, then there is no ego and there isn't this fear of like what to say. But the clients that I have who have taken a little bit longer to jump on the video train, and I think why some people shy away from social media, is because there's a little bit of accountability there. I mean, social media can expose either your lack of knowledge or the fact that maybe what you say, the value you provide, falls flat if you're not using Mortgage Coach or Lender Launchpad, or you're not upping your knowledge game and reading the books that Todd has and really separating yourself. Then you don't really know what to talk about on social, because you're not in the trenches studying your game. And so that's also what I love about what we do, is we kind of make you level up and say, all right, now prove it. You say you're a mortgage advisor, not just a traditional loan officer. Prove it. What educational topics are you having to learn so that you can serve more through social? And if you're not continuing to learn, it's like you don't really know what to say or what to share on social. So I love this opportunity, that being the limited liabilities manager, because I agree, I think there's a lot of asset managers out there. There's a ton of them, and I don't know the exact statistics. Dave posted this a while back, but there's not enough people out there teaching you how to manage debt. And that's what people are searching before they're looking for a home, guys. You need to be thinking about what is top of mind for them to then be able to buy a home. They're thinking of monthly budget. Can I afford it? Down payments, savings. So those types of posts that we make for our clients, whether it's credit related or personal finance related, is because that's the education needed right before someone makes the decision that I want to buy a home.
So let's make sure we get plenty of time for Todd to share his playlist. I do want to ask you to do a homework assignment, Deborah.
Okay.
You mentioned a few loan officers that are doing a great job of using social media for good, and they're educating. Would you mind just posting 3 or 4 in this thread and giving it so I can put it in the YouTube channel, so that any loan officer that's like, hey, I want to see a loan officer that is building a brand around education advice. They use Mortgage Coach, they're, client of yours. Would you just make up, and more than just a list, put like a little, like their name and kind of why someone would want to follow it? And let's make that so that we're inspiring people and they get to see Giuseppe with a little bit of framing.
Yeah.
And then we'll promote that in the group. So Todd, let's shine the light on you.
Hey, Dave, I got one quick thing real quick on that. So for those of you that don't know and are not clients of Deborah, like she's phenomenal. Her company is phenomenal, but they really make it super easy. Like it's foolproof. I mean, they give you a game plan, and not only the game plan, but links to examples of like, hey, this is what we're talking about. Here's somebody else who's done it. Here's, something you can look at to use as kind of a resource knowledge to base yours off of what a good one looks like. So super easy. I've not been the best at it so far, but I am working on it. But she is super helpful and really outlines it perfect for everybody.
Thank you for
Mike.
that. Deborah appreciates that.
Yeah.
So Todd, let's put you on the hot seat and kind of give us your playbook. If there's anything visual you want to share while you're talking, feel free to share your screen and, give us a playbook that will help all mortgage coaches do a better job of executing on this.
Okay, so Mike did a great job talking about high schools. Colleges are very similar. And Deb, I would agree with the social media. We're getting more and more people requesting, like, where can I watch this or where can I learn this stuff? Because they don't have time, they aren't in a class. So, I've got to get permission, but you could film a class where the students aren't being seen and you're just doing your thing and have it up on YouTube and places. And a lot, again, community colleges, small businesses, high schools are looking for stuff to share. I was going to kind of take a playbook of something that I think is really simple, because this stuff, it sounds simple, but we know it's overwhelming, especially when you have other things to do. And then you're like, how would I even begin to do this? So I've, in the last month, taught 3 local businesses where I had friends who had a business, they had 20, 30 employees. And all I did was say, would you be open to blocking time for your staff, maybe bringing in lunch, and for 90 minutes, we'll do a lunch and learn. I'm going to take you through some material. And, it's been 100% hit rate, right? They're like, absolutely. I'd love to do that, right? They're looking for ways to develop their employees. And then we just went through the content, and I'll share with you some content you can use in a minute. You don't have to build your own, but you can. Most of you have a lot of experience with just, talking about money, but there's so many great resources out there. But what was fascinating is, in just walking through content about finances, people think about finances in the way that if we started talking about Key West and vacations right now, you'd start thinking about Key West and vacations and when you want to take your next vacation. But in the process, there were young couples there going, we want to buy a house, but we haven't saved 20%. Ding, ding, ding. You don't have to be a rocket scientist and have 20, 30 years of experience to realize that they don't need 20%, right? You're talking to people as you sit there about savings, and they're like, one of the couples, and it was interesting, we had some of the employees brought their wives to work that day for the lunch to be there to listen to this. And that, again, tells you something right there, right? That they wanted to learn this stuff. And one of the husbands said, my wife will not let us save money because she wants the house paid off, right? I mean, ding, ding, ding. That's something, it's a bit of a red flag to say, look, there's certainly value in paying off the house. You don't have to pay it off directly. You can pay it off in an investment account, a savings account, and eventually write a check and pay off the house. But you don't have to put all your money in the house, because how are you going to get it out if you lose your job or you have other issues? It's not very liquid. So the questions that come up, most of us have the answers to already. The wonderful thing about financial literacy is that, again, it gives you an opportunity to stir up the needs that most people have unknown and very necessary needs. They just don't know how to articulate them. But when you're sitting there and walking them through credit, and I've got really bad credit. What do you mean by bad credit? It's like X. Okay, but there are things you can do, right? I mean, we know ways that we can help them, and there are things that they can actually do, and you can give them a link to go do certain things. But it's just, you're stirring the pot. You're creating an opportunity, and it doesn't have to be. Mike's a Jedi with some of this stuff, right? He's been doing it for a while, but just call a friend that has a company and say, could I talk to your employees over lunch about their finances? You could just do a TCA workshop to say, we used to call them liability audits. We would do a lunch and learn, and we would do a liability audit for everyone that would attend. And we were basically doing a TCA. We were asking for information, we were collecting it, and we were coming back and saying, you know, we had a pretty simple guarantee. We found we could save people between $200 and $250 a month on average, just in silly mistakes. Two of the people at the call both said, I've got a 4% mortgage now. Why would I refinance? You know, and the time rates were around 3%. And I'm like, well, what's your mortgage? And like, it's about $200,000. And I know, because I've done this enough to say, all right, 1% on a $100,000 mortgage is about 80 bucks a month. So if you have a $200,000 mortgage, that's $160 a month, right? On a 1% savings. So just being able to kind of say to someone, you could probably save $150, $200 a month. I'll need to get more information, just like a doctor. I need to collect, more information. Just your blood pressure is not enough. And that's where we started developing like worksheets for people to fill out. And that's I'll share with you the PenFin challenge, because this is something that you can all use, and it just gives them a place to sort of, again, plan their vacation. But I took what I was teaching and put it together in 9 10-minute videos here. And all of these are embeddable. You could actually click and embed them in your website. You could actually share this with someone and share it with the company. And then you come in and just do the PenFin worksheet part of it. And the worksheet of it allows you to go in and here, I'll open it up here. I think I've got one. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you go in there and download it. Download this worksheet and play with it. You'll see it here. And you'll see the information that's asking people to actually pull together. You also have this on a 1003. You could literally complete most of the information if you wanted to take the time to do that. We should build out a feed to this at some point, Dave. But just anything that you have, it can be a TCA, it can be a worksheet. If you get people thinking about it, they're going to have questions. And when they have questions, you get a chance to provide some service. And when you start providing service, they have more questions and you get referrals, and the whole kind of, snowball starts rolling out of the gate. But just get started, have a conversation.
Todd, you are just a gold mine of content and value. I get a lot of compliments on our YouTube channel, which if you're watching this and you're a mortgage professional and you are not subscribed to the Mortgage Coach YouTube channel, you're blowing it. You're losing money. But I say the same thing about everything that Todd does. Some of the things he charges for, and some of the things are just free gifts to mortgage professionals, because he's a guy that, like me, the more you give, the more you get, and the better your life is. And so make sure you follow Todd. Also a suggestion, Todd, I highly recommend you consider hiring Deborah Byrd to help you get the word out. She is the social media agency for Win by Noon and the Modern Mortgage Summit. And then she's just killing it, getting a lot of the best advisors in America as clients. So just offline, you two should talk.
Yep.
Deborah,
we've been talking.
Okay, good. And Deborah, if you could shine a light on some of those resources. I mean, I'll put links after we do this, but you and I have the same mission. I mean, you were a high school student, or excuse me, a high school teacher, and you were a high school student too, but you have that same passion, that we do at Mortgage Coach. And I think Todd, the trainings that he has, the content that he has, it's a real gift that not enough people know about. So guys, let's go into wrap-up mode. I'm going to give each of you a chance to share a closing thought. I was going to start with Mike, but it looks like his phone got hijacked. So Deborah, you go first with just a minute or less of closing thoughts, and then Mike will come to you with a closing thought, and Todd, and then we'll wrap it up. So what do you got, Deborah?
I just want to say the best of the best at anything that they do is constantly learning and constantly growing. And this is something that it's not just literacy and education that high school kids and college kids need to know. There's grown adults and even advisors that don't know this information. And it has such an impact on every area of life. I actually taught middle school and saw what it does in the classroom when you have financial stress and the ability for kids to learn, and just the fears and the the baggage it creates when you get older in life. And so I'm really passionate of this topic simply because I knew it wasn't taught in schools: credit, money management, budgeting, wealth. And there's also this internal, am I worthy? And so I just encourage you to check out Todd's book. He's giving away 100 of them. Take his limited liabilities course. I actually enrolled in it. And even though I'm not a originator, it's content that I know if I learn myself, I can help craft better messaging on social for the advisors that I know that if they're choosing us to represent them, they care about really going beyond the transaction and making sure that no borrower is left behind when it comes to looking at both sides of that balance sheet and, staying in their life beyond the transaction. So up your education game, check out Todd's website and his courses, and then take action,
So I do have to throw it in. I love that you wove in our tagline, no borrower left behind. So a lot of you guys probably saw the news. It's on our website, on our blog, but we recently took on some growth capital with LLR partners to help us accelerate the Mortgage Coach mission. And they also invested in Sales Boomerang. And one of the things I love about Sales Boomerang is their ethos for years has been no borrower left behind. Now with Mortgage Coach, we've been living that same ethos, but we're adding to it, no profits left behind. Guys, while we're talking about giving back to high school students, guys, this will make you more profitable. This will make you more successful. It's something that you can do that's good for your community, but it's also something that's good for your business. And at Mortgage Coach, we're no loan officers left behind. We're one of the few fintech companies in the mortgage space that not only focuses on selling to the enterprise, but we sell our product to individual loan officers. Most of the top tier fintech companies in the mortgage space, they're enterprise only, but it's a mission. We don't want any loan officer left behind from being able to be an advisor. So Mike, any closing thoughts you have, and then we'll go to you, Todd.
Just super thankful for all that, the opportunities that we're given each day as loan officers and professionals to be able to give back to our community. And I encourage everyone to take those opportunities. The impact that you will feel on your life and your business, you can't even begin to imagine what that is until you go through it. But what you put out there, you will get back, and giving back to the communities that you serve will come back to you and your business tenfold. I, wholeheartedly believe it. I've spent the last 20 years of doing mortgages believing that, and continue to try to take that to the next level. And thankful to have the tools that, Mortgage Coach provides us and that Deborah provides us, and look forward to learning more and more through what Todd has, and incorporating that into what we offer.
I want to say one more thing before we go to you, Todd. Mike, you are truly a client for life loan officer, because, client for life starts with how do you take the loan and how do you win the loan? And he does it by providing a little bit of financial literacy for every family that he serves. I always say that if you're not doing annual reviews, if you haven't resourced your business so that you're consistently providing, ongoing financial reviews, you're not a client for life loan officer. And as we do this pivot to this purchase market, I interviewed Shayla Gifford yesterday. It's now available on the YouTube channel, and it's how Shayla Gifford is winning with realtors in 2022. And she shared 4 strategies. Like, I'll put a link down below to this. She shared 4 strategies, but she started with annual reviews and doing debt consol loans, and not because you need refis, but because it helps generate leads that you can give to your agents. And it's part of being a client for life loan officer. So Mike, I am looking forward to interviewing you after you do your next high school training. And hopefully you got some photos, hopefully you got a TCA, and let's call it like the debrief, the high school financial literacy training debrief. Like, that will be the headline. And it will be, possibly the 3 of us again. I don't know about the schedules, but we'll debrief you on that experience. Are you cool with that?
Absolutely. I look forward to it.
All right. So Todd, any closing thoughts, buddy?
Quick, Benjamin Franklin quote came to mind as we were sitting here, and that, the best investment you can ever make is one in yourself, and I really believe that. And I believe from what I've learned about money, most of what we learn about money in our lifetime is modeled from our parents, and it's indirect, meaning it's just you're picking up cues about how they are with money. They don't really sit and teach you. You don't learn it in school. So, as loan officers, as financial advisors, as realtors, the three-sided balance sheet, as we talk about it, no one's really talking about just basic money, financial literacy stuff. So the more you can learn and the more you invest in yourself to learn this for yourself, once your cup's full, it can't help but sort of flow over, and you'll start sharing it with other people. And that's where the magic starts to happen. It's just so cool to see simple problems being solved that, again, compound over time to be worth a tremendous amount to the end consumer. So I encourage all of you just to keep learning, as Deb was saying, and get out there like Mike is on the dance floor and just dance around and share the wealth. Let people profit from your experience.
I love it. So guys, as we wrap up, I want to remind you to follow all the folks that were on this call. At Mortgage Coach, we're changing the industry. We want every loan officer to be a financial advisor. So we do training every day of the week. We do intro trainings on Mondays. I interview super inspirational sales leaders on Tuesdays. I think you called out our Wednesday at 11, where we're doing mortgage strategies. We're turning loan officers into black belts. Think of our Thursday training is like the genius desk, where we've got a mortgage coach success manager, but they're a mortgage coach genius that's answering questions. And then myself, Deborah, and Todd Bookspan, we do a mastermind every Friday at 9. You do need to sign up for these individually. So what is tomorrow? Tomorrow is the 4th. And tomorrow on the 4th, we're going to have Renee Rodriguez. So I have posted that in our Facebook group. We're going to have the Renee Rodriguez Realtor Playbook. So tomorrow at 9, check that out. If you're watching this after February 4th, it'll be in our YouTube channel. We've got a playlist for every Friday mastermind we do. So you can either just do a search in our YouTube search, or you can actually go to that playlist. But check it out. Hey, all three of you, thank you for the time that you gave to give back to the Mortgage Coach community and to make our industry better. I'm grateful for you, and anybody tuning into this, we appreciate you. This is a wrap. Take care, y'all.
Thanks, Dave.
See ya.
You're the man, bro.